Hello everyone, my name is Erica and welcome to my English channel. If you are new here, I am a professional second languages teacher who teaches languages here on YouTube. So for today's video, we'll be talking about the most common pronunciation mistakes that English language learners might make in English. Now, if you have an accent, don't feel bad about it. I mean, it's great. It means you already know another language. But here I just have some pronunciation tips so that you can get as close as possible to native English pronunciation. Okay, so if you like this video, please subscribe and let's get started. So the first thing that I will talk about is the pronunciation of the letter I. Now, this is a vowel in English, so it could either be pronounced as I, or E. So today I'm going to talk to you about the pronunciation of the letter I when it's by itself next to consonants, okay? If it's next to another vowel, the sound of it might change, but when it's by consonant, it's going to be pronounced this way, okay? So it's pronounced I, not E, okay? When it's like this. So for example, we have ship. Ship is the boat. Sheep, sheep is the animal. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're pronouncing it in the correct way so that you know like what you're talking about, because a mix-up, if you pronounce it E, you're going to mean a completely different thing. Okay, the next one we have sit. Sit. Okay, sit. A seat, eat, seat is a chair. Okay, the next one, hit. Heat is this, okay? Heat is when it's too hot, all right? So again, when it's next to a consonant, it's pronounced with the sound I. Let's move on to the next one, the letter W. If you speak a Slavic language, I'm not sure another language, but if you speak a Slavic language, I think they pronounce the letter W more like a V because they haven't got that letter in their language. I could be wrong, but I hear a lot of it with people who speak a Slavic language. So the letter W is pronounced like this. W, w, w. Okay, so look how my mouth is moving. W, not V. Okay, for example, we have Walmart. Okay, not Walmart. Walmart. W. Winter. Now, most of the time, if you pronounce it with a V, I think people will be able to understand what you're saying, but you could run into a little mistake. So here we have wiper, which is the thing that wipes. But if you pronounce it with a V, viper, that's a snake, okay? So that's why it's important you pronounce it in, well, as close to native pronunciation as possible. Walmart, winter, wiper. Okay, now the pronunciation of ed, specifically when it's used in past tense. This can be quite complicated, but I will break it down to you. There are 3 rules that we need to keep in mind. So ed, as you know, is how we make verbs into past tense in English for regular verbs. Okay, so rule number 1. If the verb ends in a T or D, you pronounce this as ed. For example, we have the verb to knit. So when we make it past tense, we will say knitted. Okay, knitted. You see I'm pronouncing the ed. Here we also have to flood. So past tense would be flooded. Okay, now rule number 2. If the last sound of the verb is voiced, meaning I use my vocal cords to pronounce it, it will also be pronounced as a D. So now we're not pronouncing the ed, we're just saying d, okay? For example, cleaned. You see how the last sound I'm using my vocal cords? I'm using them, okay? So when I'm making it past tense, I'm not going to say cleaned, I say cleaned. For example, we also have follow, O, using my vocal cords. So I'm not going to say followed. I will say followed, followed. Okay? All right. Last rule when it comes to this. If the last letter makes a voiceless sound, so the last letter of the verb makes a sound that doesn't use my voice, like k, s, ch, and it's not a T, then the ed will be pronounced as a t. Okay? Now I know this is super complicated. The best way might be to write it down, make a note, and just practice, or listen to other English speakers talk. But yeah, it's super hard to remember pronunciation rules. Okay, so we have the verb to walk. It's voiceless. So when I'm making it past tense, I'm not going to say walked. I will say walked, walked. Bark, not barked. I will say barked. Missed, stopped, watched. So it's kind of weird that cht or the pt, st, kt, or kt again, right? But that's how you pronounce it in English, no matter the accent of where you come from. Yeah. All right, let's go to the sound, or if you're from the UK or Australia, it might be pronounced a little different. Okay, so the reason why they have this one in here is because, for example, if you speak Spanish or a Latin language, you might pronounce the ER as like air, but that's not how you pronounce it in English. So if you're from North America, so Canada or the US, you will pronounce it with a hard R sound, like er. Okay? For example, I say water, brother, sister, and career. Okay? That's how I pronounce it, being North American. If you're from the UK, you might say it with more of an sound. So for example, you would say water, brother, sister, and Korea. It's like a really short okay? Like, yeah, water. That's how you pronounce it more so in the UK, all right? So either one of these is obviously correct. I know a lot of, when I was teaching English in Spain, a lot of them had a hard time with this hard sound. So you might want to pronounce it the British way, which is completely correct, okay? All right. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and leave me a comment down below. And again, if you're wanting to learn Spanish, I also have my Spanish channel linked. And anyway, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.